Another really big bonus of AI is if you can leverage it to use as a coach, because I know that really high-level coaching comes at a very steep price.
So how would I use AI as a coach?
What I would do is I would train a GPT on whatever coach you wish you could work with and have it advise you on anything from that person's perspective, or maybe it's a combination of personalities.
Love it.
Who would yours be?
I would like to work with Oprah. Could you
Let's
imagine
create you an
Oprah
Oprah
as a
vibe.
coach?
Let's create you an Oprah vibe.
Hey, Carrie, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor.
So I first met you probably, I think, like 10, 11 months ago now. And I remember you were introduced to me as the person that was going to explain AI in real estate talk.
Yes, yes.
You subsequently have done that.
I think I have. I like to think I have. I think there's so much more work to do. There are people to reach.
Yes, there's definitely more work to do. But let's go back to kind of your beginnings, because I think a lot of people know you now for AI, because you've stepped forward as being sort of the person in that expertise. But you were actually a very successful agent for many years before you kind of pivoted into how we know you today.
Yeah, so I'm still licensed. Yeah. It's been 15 years almost. I did commercial and residential. But what most people don't know about me is I got all of my business from social media. So social media was my main source of prospecting, that and SOI, because they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And I think it's been 10 years now I've been on the list of the top 10 realtors on social media. Every year for the last 10 years for the province and for my city that I was trading in, which is Hamilton. So I understand how to generate business. Like, we're going back Twitter.
Right.
And then we're getting to Instagram.
Yes.
And I was that girl. I was the girl who would put pictures of myself on Instagram 15 years ago. And everyone's like, who does she think she is? What is she doing? And there was a method to my madness, and it worked out nicely.
What gave you the courage to put yourself out there like that so early on?
You know what? I've always been very social, and maybe I think that the door knocking and the calling of the leads, it wasn't comfortable for me. So I wanted to document. First, I wanted to document my process. And then it just got to a point where people were reaching out to me. I was attracting
people, as in like buyers and sellers.
Buyers and sellers were reaching out to me via social media. And I thought, this attraction is way more comfortable than calling leads, because we both know that, like, they don't want to talk to us.
Yes.
It's the worst. Like, we can get some awful responses.
Yeah.
So once I figured that out, I was like, okay, this is my method. I'm going to run with it. And I was just really, really consistent, and it worked out nicely for me.
So I think consistency, you mentioned, is an important thing. So what did consistency look like?
Consistency for me is every single day, multiple times a day.
Putting content out
platforms. Absolutely. When I hear agents that are using social media for prospecting, and they come up to me and they're like, Carrie, I've been doing it for 2 months. It's great. I got all these buyers, and I got so busy, and then I stopped.
Yes.
And now I have nothing, and I have to start from scratch. So that's why consistency is so important. It kind of removes the roller coaster, the commission roller coaster that I feel like a lot of agents can't get off of.
Yeah. I use that exact analogy with agents of, like, you got to get off that roller coaster of working hard, getting some deals, working with the buyers and sellers. You're at the top. You're so excited. This is amazing.
Yes.
Then you close the deals. It starts to slowly ramp down before you know it. Then you're at the bottom and you're like, I don't have any buyers right now. I don't have any listings right now. What am I going to do?
I know, people panic.
Yeah.
But they quickly see the importance of consistency when that happens.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So how did you sort of create either a schedule or a system that would allow you to, like, be consistent like that? Because I think that's the struggle we all have, is where do we find the time?
Okay. So it happened by accident. I was documenting my life, and I had a pretty eventful life. I was going to exclusive concerts and dinners every night and sports games. And just through the documentation of that,
That sounds like a pretty good life.
I feel, right? But I feel like that's the core of branding.
Right.
Because people are watching me and, you say agents join agents. Well, buyers and sellers align with a lifestyle that they're seeing,
Right.
and people they want to be around. And I think that's how it happened. So it kind of just, because I was just figuring it out. This is 15 years ago.
Yes.
There was no teaching of social media to generate business for any industry at that time, let alone real estate. So
I think even today, though, it is important to like tell your own authentic story.
yeah.
Right? Like I said, oh, you're going to concerts and parties, and that sounds like really cool. Like that's not my authentic story, right?
Yeah.
Like I might be taking the kids to soccer and like
Right.
packing the lunches and, doing those things. But as you said, people connect with, with ourselves, right? Like where we're at. So I think it's being vulnerable and putting yourself out there.
And it's uncomfortable for everybody. So that's what I want to tell everybody listening. You may see my face on video multiple times a day on multiple platforms, but my assistant still has to chase me down to create the videos because, like everybody else, it is an uncomfortable situation for me. I do it because the pain of not doing it is a lot larger, right?
Yes. Well, especially because you have developed a business that's now dependent upon that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's pivot a little bit to your discovery of artificial intelligence. How did that happen?
Okay, so my first step, I thought, okay, real estate's going well. I had a team. I really want to show agents how to leverage social media to generate business because, I'm looking at all these agents that don't enjoy the traditional prospecting methods, and I'm like, I can help them. So I started coaching social media. And as hard as it was for me to sit down and do the things, it's even harder for a lot of other people for various reasons, whether they don't know what to say, even if you tell them what to say, the confidence isn't there. They don't know if people are going to align with what they're saying. And then the physical part of having their face out there. So there's a lot of obstacles. So when no-code AI first came out, ChatGPT first came out, I thought, how do I use this to help myself and all of my social media coaching clients feel more comfortable, give them more confidence, and really bring their content creation and the value that they're sharing from here to here.
Okay.
So that's how it started. It works so well. I need to say this. Social media prospecting is a 3 to 4 hour a day job, 5 days a week traditionally.
Any type of prospecting.
It's like
is,
anything
right?
else. The only upside is that you're able to reach more people from your pool or a beach somewhere, right?
I think about that as, what's great now is we can see sort of the insights or how many people have viewed a particular post on most of the platforms, right? So some people are like, well, only 100 people looked at my post. I was like, could you imagine cold calling 100 people or door knocking 100 people or trying to meet 100 people at an open house or calling 100 expires? The time it would take to do that is greatly condensed with that reel that only 100 people looked at.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I was like, okay, how do I use AI to take agents from idea to creation to editing to posting? And I was able to successfully do that and drop that 3 to 4 hours a day down to 1 hour a week. And that changed everything. And as soon as I saw that, my mind was just like, where do I learn more? How to apply this to every other area of my business? I went down the rabbit hole. And at the time, there was zero education around AI.
Right.
I planted myself in Discord and Reddit groups, which is not my comfort zone. And I witnessed computer engineers creating prompt engineering. And that was, I was sold.
That's crazy. Yeah. And I've heard you say, I'm not the computer nerd person.
It was uncomfortable. Imagine me in a room with a bunch of computer engineers, and I was just, You stick it out. If it's important to you, you just do it.
So you said a phrase I think is really interesting that is becoming more mainstream, and that is sort of prompt engineering. So tell us a little bit about like what that means, and just how we as sort of the real estate agent, trying to build our business should be thinking about prompting.
Okay, so prompt engineering is the science of being able to talk to AI to get the best results. That's how I would explain it.
Yep.
And it is a little bit complicated, and it can be complex, and you need to, so the perfect prompt, I'll tell you what it looks like.
Yeah.
You need to give the LLM, an LLM, by the way, is a large language model chatbot. So whether you're using Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok, DeepSeek, they're all LLMs.
Okay.
So you're going to give it an identity. So who does it need to channel?
Right.
Does it need to channel a marketing CMO, right? A lawyer, anything.
Right. A real estate agent.
And then you give it the job.
Yeah.
And then you give it a lot of context, like as much as possible. And then I always add on the end to always ask me any questions that it needs to clarify to best perform the task. That's how I like to structure my prompts. But
So I'm a real estate agent in Kitchener, Ontario, and I'm trying to develop a personal brand. I have 2 kids, a husband, I like soccer and golf, and I don't know what else I would put there. But is that the type of, when you say context, is that the type of context?
Yeah, tone, examples.
Oh, yeah, okay. I want a friendly tone that's very personable.
Yeah. Examples. Who do you align with?
Yeah.
Like, all the things. The more things, the better.
Yes.
But, and I know this sounds like a lot, we're now into the era of agentic AI, which means that prompt engineering is no longer as important. So through custom GPTs, through AI agents, these tools are being built with the prompt engineering in the back end so that all you have to do is talk to it.
Right.
Or type.
So I think this is probably like a key takeaway of this conversation. Because you said it at the beginning of the conversation, you just said it again, is all you have to do is talk to it. And I think that is such a hurdle that if we take ChatGPT as an example, because I think that's the one most people are most familiar with, we should just think about talking to the chat prompt, which is what we type in there, like you and I are talking now.
Absolutely. You don't even need to type anymore. You can just literally talk to it. Which is also, I wanted to bring up, because we are talking about marketing today, AI search engines, AI search agents. So SEO is also shifting because of that, which means that your content and your keywords need to match natural language.
Right.
So you need to think of the consumer voice asking for what they want to an AI search engine.
Right.
So you need to be aligning with that too within your marketing. I wanted to bring that up.
No, great point. So give us some very practical times in our businesses that we should be leveraging AI to save time, increase efficiency, and really be better marketers of ourselves and our business.
So that's a loaded question.
Yeah, I know that was a big question.
Because I use it for absolutely everything. Of course, all of your listing assets.
Yeah.
Right? Building funnels, another favorite of mine. All of my content creation. CRM management. Okay? I've even actually started to build out custom GPTs. Listen to this. You're going to love this. So I use ChatGPT's new feature, Deep Research, to do a deep dive on the top CEO, CMO, COO, and CFO in the world.
Wow.
And if you know the deep research, this is huge. Sometimes it could take up to 30 minutes to get your results.
Yeah, and it's just like waiting.
But it is so valuable. I get an entire report on what makes these people different, how their thought process works.
So if I'm going on a listing appointment, I could do this with my sellers?
Yes. Yes.
How cool would that
exactly.
be?
Exactly. And now you have an advisor, your
Yes.
own little bot advisor that can advise you for anything for your business. So whether it's, a script, somebody for scripts, right? Maybe you want to throw David Lee or is it David Lee Minor into a chat bot so that you can have conversations with him before you have a conversation with a lead. Right?
Yeah.
So there's so many opportunities. I'm using it at the building of the company process and point now for my own business because yes, you can build entire companies now with AI.
It's crazy.
Wild.
It's crazy. I've been telling agents who are like a little uneasy of like, oh yeah, I searched a couple things. I've been clarifying ChatGPT is not Google search.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to figure out how it can be really helpful, anytime you would go to a Google search, go for whatever you want to search in Google, go to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And put that query in there and then learn how to add some prompts to it. And I've been finding that that's a great way to get somebody started to see the power of how they can use it in their business.
Absolutely. I feel like Gen Alpha isn't even going to know what a search engine is.
Probably true.
So that's my personal opinion. So
Yeah.
if and another thing, Wendy, if our consumers are using AI searches to find properties, to find agents, how are we as agents
Find out about us?
Yeah, and how are we as agents if we're not using AI? Where's our value prop at at that point, right? This is something that's necessary.
Yes. Oh, so I mean, there's just so much to think about in all of that. But I think it's just, if I could give people listening, one takeaway, it's just like, just start using these tools.
Yes.
There's no right or wrong, right?
There's not really. It's getting, I feel like the biggest hurdle is the agents getting used to the use cases in real life and actually using it instead of planning to use it. I feel like that's a major hurdle.
Yeah.
I feel like another one is it's not teaching them how to use AI. It's very easy to teach somebody how to use AI. It's people in general, not just agents, struggle with what do I use it for?
Right.
So, yeah. And then the answer is anything.
Yes. So how do you think today around like your roots in social media expertise and building your business there, now building your business with AI tools? If I'm an agent today, how do you bring those two together to help build your business?
Oh, wow. You should be using AI for all of your social media, for all of your marketing. AI is leverage, right? So if we're looking at it as leverage, you need to leverage AI to be the top marketing company in the world, maybe, or the top social media management company,
or the top agent in a particular market.
Absolutely. And then have it help you create all of these assets because it costs thousands and thousands of dollars for these. And I love the fact that AI is democratizing and making all of this accessible for free. Well, $20 a month is pretty much free to me,
it's
right?
pretty much free,
Yeah, so there's no more excuses.
Yeah.
It's evening the playing field for everybody.
Yeah, it's no more about hiring expensive consultants or strategists. Like, you've got it literally in the palm of your hand.
Absolutely. And another really big bonus of AI is if you can leverage it to use as a coach as well. Because I know that really high level coaching comes at a very steep price. So, and not all agents can afford it. They've got families to feed, or they got to put the money back.
So how would I use AI as a coach?
So what I would do is I would train a GPT on whatever coach you wish you could work with and have it advise you on anything from that person's perspective. Or maybe it's a combination of personalities.
Love it.
Who would yours be?
Who would be my ideal coach that I would want to work with? Oh gosh, it depends on so many different things. But this person isn't really a coach, but I would like to work with Oprah. Because Could you imagine
create you an
Oprah as a
bot.
coach?
Let's create you an Oprah
would be
bot.
amazing.
Oh, I was revamping all of my sales funnels, and I took a Russell Brunson 5-day seminar, and it was brilliant. I did a deep research on him, pulled out a whole report, and fed it to a GPT, and then redid all my funnels. And I gotta tell you, this is gold.
That's crazy. What a great takeaway. Thank you for sharing that. I want to go play now and like create that. But for agents, you know, just starting out who maybe can't afford to hire a coach, like, you know, create your Tom Ferry, create your John Cheplack, create your Brian Buffini, whoever it is in your industry. If you happen to be outside of real estate, create your life coach, right? Like, and for me, that's what I went to when I was thinking of like an Oprah coach.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like that would be incredible.
The potential is endless.
Super cool. I love it. Well, you have given us something to think about. So let's end it on that. Thank you for your leadership in pushing the boundaries of how we can use technology in marketing and for sharing that with us. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us.
And thank you for having me here. And thank you for allowing me to share everything with EXP agents. So that's huge as well.
You're very welcome. You are one of our valued coaches here at EXP. So thank you. Thanks.